fired by President Trump. Former top Justice Department official Sally Yates has a story to tell Monday about ousted National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. The White House said in March it was okay for Yates to go public.
If they choose to move forward, great. We have no problem with her testifying.
Yates, who was briefly acting Attorney General,
I believe that we can work together.
Warned the Trump White House in January that Flynn had misled officials about his contacts with the Russian ambassador. Former Obama Director of National Intelligence James Clapper is also expected to testify tomorrow as part of a Senate Russia investigation. Turning to the fallout over health care. Saturday, outside Buffalo, New York, Republican Congressman Tom Reed faced angry constituents in a series of town hall meetings.
It's a joke how this rich country can let its citizens die.
Reed defended his vote for the GOP health care plan.
I totally understand it and empathize with the fear, the anxiety, because we are talking about health care. It's a very personal situation.
Closer to home, the president's weekend home in Bedminster, New Jersey. An unusual drive-by protest Saturday. A line of a few dozen cars passed outside President Trump's golf resort, where local police prevented them from stopping. Demonstrators then met nearby.
I wanted the people in this community to know that we don't all agree with him.
Others defended the longtime local resident, who is now president.
He's a hardworking guy. He's a very hardworking guy, and he has a right to have a day off.
Greeting thousands of fired-up supporters in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania Saturday night, President Trump reveled in running another kind of campaign, an attack on the national media.
They are gathered together for the White House Correspondents' Dinner without the president.
Bucking decades of presidential tradition, dishing out his own 100-day report card.
I think we would all agree the media deserves a very, very big, fat failing grade.
Back in Washington, the black tie event went on to celebrate the First Amendment and to refute accusations made by the president.
We are not fake news, and we are not the enemy of the American people.
But the dinner is best known for being funny. The show went on, this year featuring Comedy Central's Hasan Minhaj.
I would say it is an honor to be here, but that would be an alternative fact. It is not. No one wanted to do this.
Usually the president is on stage when jokes are made at his expense.
Who is tweeting at 3 a.m. sober?
Zinging the president, Minhaj said, was his free speech.
The leader of our country is not here. And that's because he lives in Moscow. It is a very long flight. It'd be hard for Vlad to make it. Vlad can't just make it on a Saturday. It's a Saturday.
Far from Mar-a-Lago, where the president's spending a sunny weekend, an ominous signal in the Mediterranean. This Russian warship, with its own cruise missiles at the ready. Vladimir Putin sending a clear message to the U.S. after its Syrian strike. But the Secretary of State says he's not worried about Russian retaliation.
I see no reason that there would be retaliation since the Russians were never targeted in this particular strike.
Tillerson warned by his Russian counterpart that the strike, they say, plays into extremists' hands. But the president's defending his decision, officially notifying Congress of his rationale behind the military action to protect vital national security and foreign policy interests. Still, some critics want more about the administration's long-term strategy for Syria. The president's strike, a departure from his America First foreign policy.
America first, remember that.
The move triggering backlash from his base, but not from all his supporters.
I know Trump, like you said, was America First, but sometimes that doesn't always work out.
Steve Bannon, the architect of that populist policy, now appears to be quashing rumors he's at risk of getting ousted. A source close to the chief strategist tells NBC News Bannon ain't going anywhere, viewing himself as a protector of the president's campaign promises, fighting what he's described as the West Wing Democrats, including Jared Kushner. But Bannon, Kushner, and Reince Priebus look to be trying to put the backbiting behind them, holding an hour-long meeting Friday afternoon, according to sources familiar with the talks, to, quote, bury the hatchet, or at least show the president they're trying. Donald Trump apparently pleased with where things ended up.
From NBC News, this is a special edition of Today, the presidency of Donald Trump.
For all the bigger-than-life ways, Donald Trump has long held the spotlight.
And now the work begins. Now the work begins.
This public display of affection, a first dance with First Lady Melania Trump, seemed like something very new. 3 official inaugural balls, with a special salute to men and women in uniform.
Because this is our military, this is our law enforcement, this is our first responders. You're amazing people.
A night of black tie glitz and high kicks kept a long day of ceremony.
So help me God.
From that oath to the Oval Office just hours later, where President Trump sat behind the famed Resolute desk, flanked by son-in-law Jared Kushner and White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus. He signed executive orders, one outlining his intent to repeal Obamacare, just hours after his predecessor had cleared the office.
Next is an executive order minimizing the economic burden of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act.
Turning to Vice President Mike Pence, who made the first new cabinet secretaries official.
On which I'm about to enter.
Defense Secretary James Mattis and Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly.
You solemnly swear.
Earlier, outside the White House, the parade on Pennsylvania Avenue. The family box gave son Barron a front row seat that any 10-year-old would love.
America first.
President Trump delivered a 16-minute inaugural address that painted a stark picture of a country in decline.
This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
Fueled with campaign-style nationalism.
We will follow 2 simple rules. Buy American and hire American.
At the luncheon, where the toasts were for Trump, he showed a softer tone toward rival Hillary Clinton and President Clinton, asking that they be honored with the room's applause.
And honestly, there's nothing more I can say because I have a lot of respect for those 2 people.
As Barack Obama and Vladimir Putin face off in a high-stakes chess match, Donald Trump tweeted his way in between them Friday, praising the Russian president after he held back and decided not to expel American diplomats, as expected by other top Russian officials. Trump wrote, "Great move on delay by V. Putin. I always knew he was very smart." Trump's flattery toward Putin followed a spy novel-type drama where 35 Russian diplomats were ordered out of the U.S. by President Obama, part of the punishment for Russian hacking.
The Obama administration is expelling these diplomats because of things that the Russian government did.
At consulates in San Francisco and Washington, D.C., Russian staffers scrambled to get out quickly. The State Department also took control of sprawling compounds in Maryland and Long Island, New York, that many neighbors had not known were Russian hideaways for diplomatic families, recreation, and secure meetings.
There's always been a bit of mystery surrounding the property.
The president-elect has not said if he intends to keep or reverse the Obama sanctions against Russia. Earlier this week, Trump said he and President Obama continue to speak about the transition.
I did. He phoned me. We had a very nice conversation.
Trump's team is buying time to weigh options by saying the president-elect needs more information on Russia's hacking, expected in a high-level intelligence briefing Tuesday.